So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 20, Text 20. Translation: one should never lose sight of the actual goal of mental activities, but rather, conquering the life air and senses and utilizing intelligence strengthened by the mode of goodness, one should bring the mind under the control of the self. Purport: although the mind may suddenly wander outside the jurisdiction of self-realization, one must bring the mind back under control by clear intelligence in the mode of goodness. The best solution is to keep the mind always busy in the service of Lord Krishna, so that the mind cannot wander onto the dangerous path of sense gratification, headed by sex attraction. The material mind is naturally inclined to accept material objects at every moment. Therefore, unless the mind is seriously brought under control, there is no possibility of becoming steady on the path of spiritual advancement. Manogatim navistri chech jita prano jitendriyaha sattva sampannaya buddhya mana atma vashamnayet. One should never lose sight of the actual goal of mental activities, but rather, conquering the life air and senses and utilizing intelligence strengthened by the mode of goodness, one should bring the mind under the control of the self. So this is something very practical given in this verse that we can practice every day, and we should practice every day. Every day we have a challenge to control the mind. And in the Bhagavad Gita there is a similar verse which says that one should always bring the mind back under the control of the self. But in order to do that, one has to understand that he is not the mind. And most people, and also many devotees, still identify with the mind, and that creates so many difficulties. If somebody is identifying with the mind, then whatever the mind says, we believe, and then we get frustrated and disturbed, depressed. But if one understands, I am not this voice who is telling me all kinds of negative things, all kinds of critical things, all kinds of limiting things, or limiting my possibilities, I'm not this mind, then he can have a dialogue with the mind which will be productive and helpful for devotional service. So therefore I always recommend to devotees to address the mind, my dear mind, please let us do some service for Krishna. We all have throughout the day moments of truth. We have tests every day. We have choice every day. We can choose Maya or Krishna. Srila Prabhupada has given us this choice, and we are so fortunate. People who don't know about Krishna consciousness, they have only one choice: to obey Maya in one way or the other, in one form or the other. But we have this choice. We can be under the control of the divine energy, or we can be under the control of the material energy, or inferior energy of the Lord. And this energy is so hard to overcome, but Krishna says, one who has surrendered to me, who has taken shelter of me and my spiritual energy, he can easily overcome the material energy. So you remember Markandeya Rishi, he wanted to experience the material energy, and he experienced this whole devastation, universal devastation. And what is amazing, that after so many millions of lifetimes, we still don't have enough of the torture of material energy. We still think there is something there, maybe a little bit, maybe the last time can enjoy the material world. So now here is something practical, but maybe we are not sure what does it mean? It says that by the strength of the mode of goodness, one can control the mind. One can use intelligence. Utilizing intelligence strengthened by the mode of goodness. So you may know something, but it's not enough to apply it. You may know by intelligence that it's not good to give in to Maya, but then you don't have strength to say no to Maya. So what is needed to be able to say no to Maya? Grace or mercy is needed, and honesty. Those who are honest, they like to hear the truth, even if it's not easy to hear the truth. But those who are not honest, they get offended when they hear the truth. Now, let's speak a little bit about hearing the truth. So, some people are proud that they can tell other people boldly to their face what's wrong with them. Well, that's not very glorious. Anybody can do that. I can tell you what's wrong with you, then you will get insulted, you will tell me what's wrong with me. So the truth about what is wrong, some people like to say, so to speak about, especially what's wrong with others. More difficult is to look at what's wrong with us and what we should change. This is for spiritual warriors. This is for heroes. Mommy's boys and girls, they will complain and they will criticize others. But those who are bold, they will look at what they need to change. Now, maybe you have tried to be too strict and it didn't work. You burned yourself. So you can say, why? I wanted to be strict, I wanted to do tapasya, and Krishna didn't allow me. I burned myself, I burned others, I burned my family with my strictness and so-called devotion, fanatical, neophyte devotion. Well, it's not cheap that just by some tapasya you immediately get to a higher level. You do some. I was thinking that tapasya means, when I joined, eat very little, get up in the morning, take a cold shower. Basically these three. And then I didn't know. Devotees sent me on the street with books, which I don't know so well. Actually, they also sent me with candles. We sold these like decorative candles, like artistic candles. There were some devotees who made them, and we supported our temple, maintained them. So also candles was a little bit easier. People were more inclined to buy candles than books, at least from me. And so when I went on the street first 5-6 times, I realized fasting is peanuts, cold shower is peanuts, getting up at 3 is peanuts, distributing books and being rejected is hell. It's so painful. But to me, actually, it was not so painful that they reject me, but it was painful that I realized that I don't care about these people. This was the most painful thing. I don't care. If I would care, I would do my best, use all of my little brain to convince them to take these books, beg them, or how you say beg? No, not borrow steal. What can you borrow steal? I mean, how can you borrow steal? Just beg. Wow. Now, how you say this word? Implore? Is it implore? When you beg very, very fervently, strongly, this was such a painful realization, and this was the realization what is real tapasya. Real tapasya is to give up envy and to be well-wishing friend, to give people these precious books. So you cannot get fast results just by some quick tapasya, and Krishna prema is not cheap. And then, so if you want to push too much, it doesn't work. But if we want to push too little, also it doesn't work. So we have to find some middle and push, steadily. The most difficult thing is balance. Extremes are easy, but balance requires strong mode of goodness. So, again, it has to be practiced. How can I act in the mode of goodness? Practice every day. Take a deep breath. When you get provoked, take a deep breath and say, Hare Krishna. I don't want to react in the same old stupid way. And I don't want to make these bad choices every day that I made for so many lifetimes. So the most difficult person to preach to is our own mind. The most difficult person to counsel is our own mind. It's easy to preach to others, to do this, to that. You will go to hell if you don't follow something. Threaten people and speak from above. We are better. In ISKCON we think we are the best, isn't it? But some people are better in some things. Actually, what is best about us, we have the best process and the best philosophy, but it doesn't mean automatically that we are the best. Because we are not practicing perfectly, and sometimes we even act in ways that are not very spiritual. So what is important in spiritual life? Some people like to speak about rasa and Radharani and Leela. And I think the most important discussion for devotees to start with is just down-to-earth honesty. To become honest with yourself and with others. You can ask yourself, am I still lying to someone? Am I still deceiving myself in various ways? Just down-to-earth honesty. Are you honest with yourself? And you may say, well, what is honesty? And Prabhupada gives a definition of honesty straight from the Bhagavad Gita. He says, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram sukhridam sarva bhutaram gyatva manshanti richati. Which means?
One who knows me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and penances and well-wisher of all living entities and what else? And the proprietor of all planets, universes, planetary systems and demigods at once attains the freedom from the pangs of material miseries.
And one more you have missed?
Sorry, one more.
Sukridam sarva bhutana?
Sorry,
you said. Okay. The best friend. Okay. So I missed it. You didn't miss it.
Then he attains the...
So Prabhupada said, who acts according to this verse is honest. So honesty is not cheap. Honesty is not some mundane morality. Honesty is very deep. And it's very spiritual. So, is there anyone in this world that you can stand in front of, except of the deities and Prabhupada, and be honest and say, I still have this attachment, I still have this weakness, can you help me? You can think, you don't have to answer, but is there anyone you trust so much that you can speak like this? A person who is moving. You can? Deities are sometimes also moving. I heard that sometimes they get off the altar. Or some devotees hear them speaking, some devotees have dreams of... Okay, how many of you have dreamed Radharanda London Ishvara? My God. Okay, can I meet you later? You give me some dust? I haven't. So honesty actually is given by God. God has given honesty as a principle, as a powerful success principle. If we use it, we should wait a little bit about prema and bhava bhakti. She just appeared. Bhava bhakti, prema. What else is there? Asakti? Asakti? Ruchi, you have ruchi? Who doesn't have ruchi? If you don't have ruchi, go to Govinda's. There is so much ruchi. But, you have ruchi for kirtan also. So, some people really like the stage of Anartha Nivriti. How many of you like the stage of Anartha Nivriti? 1, 2, 2.5. Anartha Nivriti. I don't know where honesty falls in. Maybe it's related to Anartha Nivriti. But if we can just be honest, this is such a powerful foundation for spiritual advancement, and even for ruchi, if we're just honest with ourselves. And one aspect of honesty is that when no one is looking, you are the same as if everyone is looking. You observe what you think, you observe what you think. You don't allow your mind to indulge in dreams of sinful activities. You're just try to be honest all the time, every minute of the day. Don't play with Maya if you want better results. And therefore, also in the Shastra is mentioned spiritual intelligence. This is one of the intelligences that we don't use enough. So with the power of spiritual intelligence, and we get spiritual intelligence from the Shastra, it's full of spiritual intelligence, then you can say no to the mind, to the conditioned mind. And this requires practice, everyday practice. If you say no to Maya 100 times, she might leave you alone. Or 108 is better. She might leave you alone. So you have to show Krishna that you are serious. And He is watching you all the time. He is following you since you have fallen. He is following us since we have fallen in the material world and watching what we're going to do next. And He is the best coach. He wants to train us to serve Krishna. And He's waiting when we are going to be ready. So many of you have been ready, and therefore you have a guru, you have a shastra, you have association of devotees, you have deities. So you have been quite ready, but now you have to get more ready because the process is not finished. It just started. You were ready to start, but you are not. You didn't achieve everything in one day. Ready to start, and initiation means start. Sometimes people think if somebody is initiated, he's already perfect. No, he got a nice chance and help from the parampara to actually work on getting perfect. He's not. He's not already perfect. So we can practice honesty. How do you want to practice honesty? It's up to you. You can talk to your friend, you can be honest with your guru. But you may say, well, I'm very honest. I'm honest about my weaknesses. Yes, I'm honest about my weaknesses, and I'm honest. I say I can't do this, and I have to do this. And I'm honest about my attachments. I'm honest about my material desires, even sinful desires. I am honest. So this is not honesty. Honesty is when you recognize the weaknesses and say, I'm going to work like an ass to overcome them. This is honesty. I'm honest. So we have to understand what is honesty. Honesty means one is ready to make a sincere effort, sincere endeavor to improve. Not just to admit. Admitting is just the beginning. And therefore the vigilance of intelligence, always watching the mind, he can get out of control at any second. At any second. So sometimes you control yourself, and then at one moment you just explode. You start offending everybody. I hate everybody. I'm fed up with this tapasya. So it's so difficult to control the mind. It's so difficult to control our envy. But it's possible. And there is a hope. And what is the hope? There is two hopes. One hope is grace or mercy. So therefore we should pray. And another hope is your sincerity. These two things can bring you amazing results. If sincere effort, not only sincerity, but sincere action. So for example, about japa. How would you like to show Krishna that you are serious about your japa? I mean, here in the temple you are quite good, but I also preach to congregational devotees and guests and people in general. So I asked them, how would you like to show Krishna that you are serious about your japa? Yes?
Chanting in the morning.
Yes. What else?
And attentive chanting.
Yes. What else? Yes?
What was the sentence she said?
You wanted to say the same. Which one? Attentive. Mm-hmm. And how about laptop japa? Is that okay? Laptop japa or smartphone japa? Is that okay? Laptop. Laptop.
What does that mean?
This means you look at the laptop and chant. Or look at your smartphone and chant. Who likes to do this? What about answering calls during japa? You think Krishna will think you're serious? What about chewing something while you're chanting japa? What else we can do during japa? Let's be creative, huh? What? Somebody said, you said something?
I said many things.
Many things, yeah, we are expert in this, doing so many things during japa. And Krishna is not convinced that we are serious about japa. So, how are we going? You know, there is this kind of disciples, when Guru comes, they sit in front of him and look at like this. And because he sees that they are in Maya and they are faking it, they look at the disciple who is in the back and who is working like an ass. You know that? He is not impressed by your show of devotion. It's a fake devotee. Only when Guru is here and they will they will kill others just to be in front of the Guru. I have seen one devotee, I don't want to say who this is. It's not from here, don't worry. So Guru, ISKCON Guru, my ex-Guru, was throwing his garland in the air. That means we all have to jump, and who jumps the highest, he will get it. And there was a Prabhupada disciple on the side with glasses, who was we just finished lecture, and he was just by accident, he was there. He didn't want to jump to take the garland of his god brother. And one Mataji, she was so inconsiderate that he smashed his head and glasses to catch this. So is that devotion? And his glasses fell off, and oh my God, it's crazy. Because I want to get the garland of my Guru. So only me and my Guru exist in the universe. Everybody else is below. So this is not right. This is not okay. Krishna knows. Haridas Thakur he couldn't even enter the temple, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally came to him. So we cannot fake devotion, we cannot cheat Krishna. We have to become a real devotee, like a genuine person, for real, from the heart, sincere. And this begins with honesty with yourself. When you become honest with yourself, you say, okay, what are you doing? You really want to be a devotee? Are you sure? And what does that mean? And how are you going to show Krishna that you are serious? And then practice every single day. Then Krishna will see, wow, for so many years he is trying or she is trying, let me give him some realization. Maybe some mystical realization. But one who is convinced of the philosophy, he doesn't need miracles in order to grow his faith. He doesn't need. For him is enough to serve every day, forever. That's the blessing. Doesn't need to walk on water, doesn't need to go through the keyhole, doesn't need to fly. Even if he is a tree, he will chant Hare Krishna and serve Krishna. So convinced and so determined. Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Yes?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It was very enlightening, and I thought that was especially meant for me. I have a couple of questions, so I'm thinking. One of the questions is, when we become honesty, does it mean going to somebody and talk about it, or just to work hard to improve? Sometimes revealing honesty can be very painful and demotivating, or it may mean a little bit offensive as well. So could you enlighten on this?
Why offensive? Honesty is not about other people's faults, it's about your faults. I speak about that honesty. So why it's offensive? You mean offensive to yourself or what?
Offensive means you may upset the person by revealing, he never expected of you to be like this, and that may displease the
Well, that's different. It's not offensive. You displease the senior, but if they are reasonable, they will actually be very pleased that you are so honest, because then they can help you to work on this. Why they should be displeased? We don't have false expectations. Everybody is a conditioned soul, so anybody can come up with all kinds of weaknesses, and we should be ready. Yeah. Imagine you come to a doctor and you say, "My dear doctor, I have cancer." He says, "You have cancer? You disappointed me 100%. Better you go away." So if the doctor is genuine, he will be happy that you are, revealing your disease, and he has ready so much medicine. Ayurvedic or different kinds. And what else did you ask?
Another question is, during the daytime there are so many distractions in the world we come across.
Oh yes.
And that makes it difficult to control the mind. And during the night, when we sleep, we are not conscious, and again thoughts come, and probably dreams, and so many thoughts like that. So what could be the suggestions?
I can tell you something so simple that you will say it's too simple. You could say it's too simple. If you notice, when you notice that the sinful thought is coming, you say, "My dear Lord, please take this away." Or you say, "My dear mind, please don't indulge in this sinful thought." It sounds simple, but it's very powerful. My dear Lord, my dear mind. Try it. Already here some devotees tried this, because I'm speaking in the course upstairs, and they say it helps. My dear Lord, my dear mind. I'm sorry, I have to be at Liverpool Street at 9 o'clock, so I need half an hour. But I have to stop here. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Grace Akura Ki. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice class.